Welcome back to True Echo, the channel where real stories echo louder than fiction. Today's story is one of honor, fear, and unstoppable courage. A decorated black veteran, calm, poised, and returning home from a long day, found herself staring down the barrels of drawn guns, not in combat, but in her own driveway. But what those officers didn't know. Her silent defenders were waiting. And when they stepped out, everything changed. The sun was dipping low in the California sky when Danielle Rucker pulled into her driveway. Tired but steady, she was looking forward to a quiet evening after helping her cousin move all day in Sacramento. She wore combat boots, well-worn leggings, and a Fort Bragg hoodie that had seen more years than most of her neighbors had spent in this zip code. Her SUV, dusty from the trip, carried precious cargo in the back. Rex and Nova, her two Belgian Malinois partners, still crated but alert. Danielle tapped the garage opener clipped above the visor. Her two-bedroom ranch, purchased after years of active duty, sat quietly under the amber light. She didn't notice anything strange until her eyes caught a figure across the street. A woman, yoga mat under her arm, blonde bob cut, standing rigid with a cell phone held tightly to her ear. Danielle gave her a polite nod. The woman didn't return it. Just stood and stared. It was Modesto. Quiet. Predictable. Or at least it used to be. Within 3 minutes, that calm shattered like glass dropped on concrete. Sirens screamed down the cul-de-sac. Not one cruiser. 4. The screeching halt of tires, doors swinging open with precision that mirrored a raid. Her garage barely halfway open. One officer barked, "Step out of the vehicle. Hands where we can see them." Another crouched behind a bush. Guns up. Commands sharp. No questions. No pause. Danielle's eyes didn't flinch. Not yet. Her voice, steel calm, responded, "This is my home." They didn't care. You matched the description of a burglary suspect. Description. She lived here. Name on the deed. She told them. Calmly. Repeated it twice. But the man at her driver's side window, tall with a shaved head, wasn't interested in facts. His finger twitched near the trigger. That's when Rex gave a warning bark, low, firm, but not aggressive. Nova stayed silent. Danielle's left hand moved with precision, tapping the center console twice. A silent cue. Her dogs knew it well. The locks clicked open. And the SUV's back door unlatched itself with a soft, slow creak. The officers stiffened. Guns aimed. But what stepped out wasn't a weapon. It was Rex. Majestic, trained, calm. His tan tactical vest clearly labeled, U.S. Military Canine, Do Not Pet. He scanned the officers, then stepped forward slowly and sat beside Danielle's door. Nova followed, flanking the opposite side. A perfect formation. And suddenly, the chaos paused. The tension in the air was no longer just fear, it had shifted into uncertainty. None of the officers expected that. Not two military-grade dogs in tactical vests standing without a sound, no leashes, no barking. Just watching. Waiting. Ready if needed. Danielle opened the driver's door slowly, not because she feared what would happen, but because she didn't trust what wouldn't. The moment she stepped out, her body language was calm, military-trained. Shoulders straight. Feet planted. Hands visible. "My name is Danielle Rucker," she began, her voice as composed as ever. "I live here. These are my dogs. I served 12 years active duty in the Army. 6 years in canine operations." Officer Perez, badge visible, a Latino man who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else, stepped closer. His voice wavered as he asked, "Are these military dogs?" Danielle nodded. "Yes. Trained by me. They're controlled. They don't bite unless I give the word." Rex moved half a step forward, not threatening, just present. The gesture alone made two officers lower their guns slightly. Nova, more statuesque than animated, simply stood still, as if she were daring them to flinch. Perez hesitated, took her veteran ID and driver's license when she offered it. He studied it carefully. The name matched the mailbox. Her photo matched her face. Everything about this moment should have been over in 5 seconds. But it wasn't. Danielle turned to the woman across the street. The blonde. Still clutching her phone like it was a security blanket. "You called this in?" Perez asked. "Yes," the woman said. She looked suspicious. "I didn't recognize her." Danielle stared. "I've lived here 5 years. I mow that lawn every Saturday morning. You never thought to say hello?" The woman blinked but said nothing. No apology. Just silence. "I just thought. You thought I was breaking into my own house," Danielle finished for her. Perez cleared his throat. "Ma'am, there's obviously been a mistake." Danielle looked him dead in the eye. "There's always a mistake. But I'm the one who could have ended up dead." Perez said nothing. And from a nearby porch, a soft digital click confirmed what would change everything: Franklin Yates had started recording. Franklin Yates never meant to become a witness. But when the fourth police cruiser screeched into the cul-de-sac, he shifted forward in his old rocking chair and reached for the phone he kept on the porch table beside his root beer. The retired construction worker didn't walk much anymore, his knees were long gone, but his eyes missed nothing. He'd watched Danielle mow her lawn for 5 years, helped him shovel during a rare freeze, even brought his trash bins in once after a storm. The moment he saw weapons drawn, he pressed record. No commentary. No edits. Just 74 seconds of unfiltered truth. From Danielle's composed voice to the slow, controlled emergence of Rex and Nova, the footage captured the moment perfectly: the shame, the fear, the poise, and the reckoning. That night, someone uploaded it to a neighborhood forum. From there, it hit Reddit, Twitter, Facebook. By morning, it had 600,000 views. Danielle hadn't even seen it yet. She sat quietly on her couch, still in her boots, still stunned. Rex at her feet, Nova watching the window. Her phone buzzed, her cousin Zora sent a link. "Girl, this you?" Danielle frowned and clicked. She watched the video, jaw tight. Once. Then again. Then a third time, slower. She hadn't realized how steady she looked. How grounded her dogs were. She hadn't noticed the neighbor in the background, Kimberlyn Faulkner, arms crossed, face like stone. Watching the guns. Watching Danielle. Not a flicker of concern. Just disapproval. Judgment. Danielle leaned forward, elbows on her knees. This wasn't fear anymore. It was something deeper. A tiredness carved into the soul. By the next morning, reporters were circling. Local channels parked 2 blocks away. Zora called again, furious. "They think you're just a hashtag," she snapped. "Say something before they twist it." But Danielle didn't feel like talking. She hadn't asked for any of this. Until she opened her front door and saw a note, handwritten, slid under the mat. "My daughter saw your video. She asked me if she'd be safe if she grew up to look like you. I didn't know what to say. But now I do. Thank you." She stood there for a moment, staring down at it, then looked at Rex. "They heard me," she whispered. "Even when I didn't say much." By Tuesday, the pressure reached City Hall. Internal Affairs opened a quiet investigation. The mayor released a carefully crafted statement: "A procedural review will be conducted. We remain committed to trust and transparency." Standard spin. Nothing personal. But it was personal to Danielle. Wednesday morning, the doorbell rang. She didn't expect it to be her, Kimberlyn Faulkner. Dressed in a pressed blouse and slacks, like she was interviewing for forgiveness. I came to apologize, Kimberlyn began, voice shaky. Danielle didn't invite her in. She stood tall in the doorway, Rex calmly at her side, Nova peering from the hallway behind her. You didn't know who I was, Danielle said flatly. I just didn't recognize your car, and you looked. What? Like I didn't belong. Kimberlyn fumbled. It wasn't about race. Then what was it about? Danielle's tone was quiet, sharp as glass. A pause. Kimberlyn's mouth opened, then closed again. She had no answer. You've lived here 3 months, Danielle said. I've lived here 5 years. I shovel, I mow, I wave. You don't see me because you never tried. I'm sorry, Kimberlyn whispered. Danielle nodded once. Acknowledge it. Not forgive. Just, recognize. Next time, think twice before you call 911 like it's customer service, she said. Because next time, someone might not have dogs to de-escalate it. Kimberlyn turned and walked away. Slowly. No more words. Just the sound of retreat. That afternoon, Danielle received a call from Mayor Douglas Rayburn's office. He wanted a meeting. To listen, he said. To learn. Danielle didn't dress up for it. Same boots, same hoodie. Rex and Nova came too. The mayor had a notepad and a nervous PR assistant. He started with, "We regret what happened to you." Danielle cut in. "You regret it went viral." A long pause. "We're retraining our officers. You're trying to avoid liability." She wasn't cruel, just clear. "You want to fix this?" she continued. "Make sure I don't need a vest-wearing dog at my side just to be treated like a human." He nodded slowly, unsure what to say. The recorder on the table clicked off. The meeting was done. She left without a handshake. The world wanted her to speak, but not in her words. National news reached out. Producers wanted angles. The veteran with the dogs, they said. The woman who stayed calm while the cops panicked. Everyone wanted a soundbite. No one asked about the silence after the sirens stopped. Danielle declined them all. Until she got a DM from an independent journalist, Tawny Wren. Local, small budget, sincere. She ran a web series called Front Porch Stories. No studio lights. No drama. Just truth. They filmed in Danielle's front yard. No script. Just a folding chair and a mic. Tawny asked softly, "Can you tell us what happened that day?" Danielle looked at Rex and Nova, nodded once, and began. She told the truth, not just of that afternoon, but of the years behind it. Kandahar. Night patrols. Losing friends. Teaching dogs how to sniff out bombs and danger. Coming home and thinking maybe she could finally breathe. "I gave this country everything," she said. Time. Energy. Peace. And when I came back, I just wanted to live like anyone else. Tawny didn't interrupt. The camera caught Danielle's calm, the same calm that stood between life and death in war zones, and now, in her driveway. She went on, "I didn't panic that day because I couldn't afford to. Not as a black woman. Not with guns on me. If I'd flinched, we wouldn't be having this conversation." And when she said the quiet part aloud, the world leaned in. They didn't listen to me. They listened to my dogs. That interview hit harder than the viral clip. Because it was slow. Raw. Honest. It reached millions. Veterans messaged. Strangers cried. Officers wrote apologies. Not about protocol, but about their own assumptions. Her silence had spoken volumes. But now her voice was even louder. The video sparked a wave, but Danielle's words started a movement. The Modesto Police Department was forced to act. Not with press statements, but policy. A new mandate passed quietly: before any residential stop triggered by a civilian call, dispatchers must now attempt verification of the property owner first, especially in neighborhoods where racial profiling was historically unspoken but embedded. They called it the Rucker Rule. Danielle didn't celebrate. She didn't post about it. She read about it in a local blog, closed her laptop, and went to walk Nova. But something inside her settled a little deeper, like a stone finally finding the bottom of the pond. That week, small changes began around her. A boy on a scooter waved and asked to pet her dogs. She let him. Rex sniffed his hand. Nova tilted her head, regal as always. A woman in a minivan honked and shouted, "Thank you for your service." She nodded. But not everything shifted for the better. Kimberlyn Faulkner deleted her social media accounts. Parked 2 blocks away. Disappeared from the morning jogging trail. Danielle didn't feel victorious. This wasn't victory. This was survival. And that's what she explained during the town forum held a week later at John Muir Community Center. She hadn't planned to speak. She just came to watch, to make sure no one sanitized what happened. But after the third speaker said words like misunderstanding and unfortunate, she stood up. Walked to the mic, hoodie still on. Rex beside her. Nova asleep under the folding chair. "My name is Danielle Rucker," she said into the mic, "and I live here." She told the room, "You want to know how I stayed calm? I didn't have a choice. People like me don't get to panic. If I had raised my voice or reached for my phone, you'd be lighting candles on my lawn right now." The room held its breath. "I didn't get loud. I didn't resist. I just existed. And that was enough for someone to call the cops." She paused, scanning faces. "I was only believed because I had military dogs standing beside me. Not because I'm human. Because I had proof." Silence. Then applause. Then more. Danielle stepped away from the mic. She didn't wait for thanks. She just returned to her seat. That night, Danielle sat alone on her porch, cradling a mug of tea, one hand resting gently on Nova's thick fur. Rex lay at her feet, ever watchful, though his eyes were half closed. The street was quiet again. Trimmed lawns. Familiar porch lights. A neighborhood that now looked at her a little differently, not with suspicion, but with hesitation, and maybe respect. No reporters. No hashtags. No podium. Just stillness. The interview clip from the town forum circulated quietly. Not because it was sensational, but because it was real. One woman. One voice. One truth. A few days later, a teenage boy approached her in the grocery store. Nervous. Hoodie pulled low. "You're the lady with the dogs, right?" he asked. Danielle nodded. "My mom said you were scary," he said. Danielle raised an eyebrow, then leaned closer. "Tell your mom I'm only scary when I haven't had my coffee." The kid laughed. It was small, but it mattered. Because that was the part most people didn't see. Danielle wasn't angry. She was tired. Tired of explaining herself. Of earning the right to exist peacefully. But now, her truth was out. Spoken plainly. Documented. Undeniable. And that meant something. The final letter came from a father in a neighboring city. A man she didn't know. He wrote. "My daughter asked me why someone would be scared of a soldier. I didn't know how to explain it. But now I think I do. Thank you for helping me see what I refuse to." Danielle folded the letter and tucked it into a small box under her coffee table, one she labeled "Proof I'm Not Invisible." She didn't ask to become a symbol. She wasn't campaigning. She didn't want to be the veteran with the dogs forever. She just wanted to come home and not be mistaken for a threat. And if her story changed one law, helped one kid walk taller, or made one officer hesitate before assuming the worst, then maybe it was worth the fear. Worth the stillness. Worth the wait. Because the world needs to remember, the most dangerous thing about a black woman in America isn't her voice. It's how calmly she speaks the truth when everyone else expects her to scream. And when they finally stop to listen, really listen, they realize she never needed to prove herself at all. She just needed to be seen. This has been a true Echo original, where real stories don't just echo, they resound through the silence. Danielle Rucker's strength wasn't in her uniform or her dogs. It was in her ability to remain still while the world misjudged her. And that stillness spoke louder than any command ever could. Remember, sometimes the world won't hear you until you make it uncomfortable enough to listen. If this story moved you, don't just scroll by. Subscribe to True Echo for more powerful stories. Share this video with someone who needs to see it. And comment below, have you ever been forced to prove your humanity before being heard?